Happy Saturday morning and welcome back to Scale Auto Guys Workbench. Today I'm starting this kit, this Monogram Chevy LUV Street Pickup. This is a 2020 edition of the kit, and I just recently got it from Amazon, and for some reason those folks over there at Amazon do not know how to ship a kit in a box other than this box. I asked for it to be put in a box. They put it in a bag. Didn't prevent it from getting damaged, but luckily nothing inside was damaged, just a little bit of superficial damage on the box itself. As some of you may not know, this was imported by Chevy from Japan, and this was an Isuzu pickup in Japan, and Chevy brought it over during the fuel crisis period in the mid-70s to kind of capture some of the small pickup market, and the Chevy LUV stuck with General Motors until its replacement came along in the early 80s, and that was the S10 pickup. So something else I learned along the way, this kit has never been made as a street stock version. It's always had a modified street pickup kind of version. Originally these trucks came with a 1.8 liter 4-cylinder that produced right around 80 horsepower, but this particular kit comes with a 262 V8. It gives you your custom wheels, custom exhaust, and this weird step bumper. Let me see if I can get up close here. You can see it sticking out of the back of the truck here and here. It's freakishly large in my opinion, but it is what it is. This kit consists of 73 parts, and let's take a look at those. First up is your two-piece body, although currently it is not. It is technically attached to each other, but it does have a bit of sprue, not sprue, but flash on it, which is fine. This is a USA kit, not a Chinese kit. The plastic is a little bit different than what I've been seeing lately. It feels a little bit more stiff. That shouldn't be a problem. Just brought it up just to kind of point it out. It's just a little bit different. Now this kit only has like 4 parts trees, which was kind of surprising to me. I figured it would have a bit more, but then with the parts count, you kind of expect it. So in this tree here, you got your interior tub and your tailgate, your hood, the rear taillight assembly. I do like that it has the separate rear axle, and it's the type that the wheels slip onto. Now I don't know if you've seen in other previous videos what I do with these style mounts for your wheels. I always take a little bit of Scotch tape and put it around that, so it's bare plastic when it comes out the other end. I don't have to worry about layers of paint making it difficult for me to mount the rims on there, and it just works out better that way. So just a little bit of advice. Next up is your cab back, a custom front fascia. This kit actually comes with 2 different style, and I'll show you the other one in just a little bit. You've got headers. Here's your front suspension, the pins for the wheels. The dash is rather plain, but then again, these trucks weren't built for luxury. They were built for economy, so they weren't flamboyant at all. Next up is your chassis and frame, front suspension parts, and there's that V8 engine. Doesn't give you much as far as options. It's all kind of a stock V8, other than, you know, headers. Next up is the camper shell. Here's that other front fascia. I'm not sure which one I like better. I'll have to kind of put them on the body and take a look at that. Now this has the option of having a sunroof in it, as well as the cab of the truck. I forgot to point that out. That has one too. And it's pretty basic as far as the camper top goes. Next up is your chrome tree. Here's that freakishly large rear bumper, and that doesn't mount like this, it mounts like that on the back of the body. So that's kind of weird, but we'll make it work. Now, something I did notice on the wheels when I first took this out of the box, can you see the difference there? Yeah, this one here has got some chromed flash, which is going to be just ever so slightly difficult to trim without screwing up the look of the wheel. And I hope I can pull that off. It should be okay, but I hope I don't mess it up. It looks like it just goes, if you look at the back side here, you look at the other ones, they're just flush up the side, so I just need to trim it out flush. So that'll be okay. Got two deeper ones and two shallow ones. So those will be on the front, those will be on the rear. Here's your tires. They're not hollow, but they are, you know, a little bit soft and squishy, so that you'll be able to get the wheels in there, no problems. And I don't see any branding on these tires, so they're just no name brand. Next up is your clear parts. It's your rear window for the camper top, the front windows, two moonroofs there, or sunroofs, whatever you want to call them. It also gives you this option for these round windows, and you see it on the box art. They go back here on the back side of the camper. Those are optional, and I don't see any line on the inside of that where you can cut it out. I suppose if you wanted to, you could. Otherwise, you could just attach them, or not. You don't have to. Yeah, that's another option. Last thing I got, well, last two things I got for you is the decal sheet. So you got optional decals for like the side of the camper top, a couple of different license plates. Now the excuse me, my voice keeps cutting out. The Mighty Mike version, that was a option package on the actual truck, so they kind of honor it with this decal. Also, you have just plain white stripes that you can apply if you don't want to go with all these multicolors. So it gives you a few options there, as well as your dash gauges and some LUV logos. Now that's a funny name, but it actually There's a meaning for that name and why it's spelled that way. It doesn't mean love like you love your wife or your dog. That stands for light utility vehicle, which is kind of a play on words. It's kind of unique and funny. So the last thing you got here is the direction sheet, and it gives you a little bit of history on the truck. This is a multi-sheet direction manual, but it's got a pretty good parts breakdown. And even where you put your decals. So, what do you guys think? This should be a pretty easy and fast build. I do have some cleanup to do with it, and excuse me for a second, I gotta do something about this. Pardon me, I had to take a drink there. So I'm thinking maybe something like this copper color for the build. I'm thinking that would look pretty good. Either that or maybe some sapphire blue. I don't know yet. We'll have to take a look at that. I might even go with the yellow. I do have some school bus yellow. All right, let me get started. Let me get some sub-assemblies done and get some of this flash cleaned up, and we'll get on over to the paint booth and lay down some primer. See you in a bit. Alright fellas, I know this looks a little crazy, but I wanted to have this as a one-piece body basically, so that when I spray the paint it'll be even all the way around, because sometimes when you paint one half separate from the other, a lot of times it turns out that might be a little darker than this or vice versa. This way here I can get a nice even coat across the board, and I don't have to worry about, you know, high spots, low spots, and everything in between. So let's get started. Alright, we're on to the wheels and tires. I had to trim this flash. It's a little bit of flash off the edge of one of the wheels. Hopefully that I got it smooth enough it's not going to look weird after I get it installed in the tire. Now, I wanted to point out something, and you guys are probably already aware of this. There's a little lip inside this tire. I don't know if you can see it right there at the end of the knife blade. You notice that this side is a little bit thinner than this side. So that means your outer wheel goes on the thicker side, or the thicker side. So just squeeze it on in there. And the wheel back goes on the thinner side. And it just pops right in there. Now, these wheels don't have centers. There's not a center cap there, as you can see. You can probably see my hand right through that. But the way the tire mounts on the wheel, on the axle, oops, wrong part. Where is that part? Oh, here we go. Has the tape still on it from the paint booth. Oh boy. Alright, I got it off there enough for now, just for demonstration purposes. You can see it's got a little notch in the end there. Right in this area here. Well, that's going to poke through that wheel. And that's how it locks the wheel onto the axle. So I'm going to have to hit that with a little silver paint or some other color paint, so that when it goes on, it'll look like it's a center cap. So again, the outer wheel goes into the thicker side. They make this kind of foolproof. You know, I wonder if you left the wheel back off of there, would it matter? And then you could have open wheels. Would it matter? Might cause the tire to fall off the rim a lot. But with the wheel backs on there, I should probably paint those like red or something. Because as it is right there, it just kind of looks, I don't know. It looks weird. And as you can tell, I've already sanded the tires. So yeah, I think I might pull those back out and paint them. Now the same thing goes for the front tires. It's got an offset line on the inside there. Wheel goes on the bigger side, or the outer wheel goes on the bigger side. Oh, and that's partially enclosed. I have to open that up, and then this part goes on here. Actually, no, it doesn't. The tire is not big enough. So it's just going to be the outer wheel. So in order to match them, I'm going to have to take those back off and just leave them off. And go from there. And just leave them open. Alright, that's all there is for this step. Yeah, I'm going to leave those wheel backs off. See if I can get that out of there. Boink. Oh yeah. Carpet Monster's got it. Oh, and this one. Stubborn. There we go. Yeah, we'll just leave those off and leave the wheels open. Alright fellas, the direction sheet isn't really 100% clear on where these two pieces go. So I'm gonna have to give it my best guess. This part shows the centerpiece going in first, then your two-wheel, I can't think of the name of those things, just escaped my head. Anyway, the spindles, there we go, the two-wheel spindles, and this goes in third, and this being the last piece, I'm guessing. Oh no, the engine's fourth, and this being the last piece. So one thing I didn't do is I didn't put the spindles in the wheels, and I'll do that right now, and then we'll get this all together. Now I did kind of test fit the engine into the frame to kind of get a general idea where this piece goes, and well, I'm not sure if it goes where in my test fitting it sat right on top of these two little notches here, but I'm guessing that if I put this in place wherever this might go, I guess it goes somewhere in here, and that would put this piece sitting right about there, and so that will still engage the transmission. So alright, I think that's where it's got to go. Let me get those wheels mounted on those spindles. And as usual, my usual trick, put some Scotch tape on the spindle. That way there, after you've done all your painting, it's paint free. Now this, it doesn't say it anywhere, but it looks like it might have posable steering, and I may be wrong. Hold on a second. Let's take a look at that before I... No, it doesn't have posable steering. That all goes into... Yeah, there's locking holes in there. So it's not posable steering. I suppose if you wanted to snip those off, you could have posable steering. But what's the point? They're not interconnected in any way. So you'd have one wheel turning left and one wheel turning right. It'd be a constant battle. Alright, let's get this trimmed up here and get the paint touched up a bit. These Sharpies come in really handy for this kind of stuff. Otherwise you're getting out the paint and a brush and all that stuff. Here you just pull the cap, wipe it on, call it a day. There you go. Paint's all touched up. like I said earlier, the little locking tab sticks through the wheel. That's your center cap, so you have to hit that with a little bit of silver paint or... Uh-oh. This one, no locky. It doesn't lock on there. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to glue that on. That's alright. Scrape a little of that chrome off there so that the glue has something to stick to. Oh, glue. Oh, glue. Stuff's going crazy on me. Let's give it a little bit of a coat. Maybe I should have painted those before I installed them. Well, don't mean to be bumping you guys. Not the smartest move I've done. Putting glue on and then using the gel pen. But I didn't get any all the way out here to the end anyway. It's just further up on it. There we go. Honestly, that looks kind of crappy. You know, I think I'm gonna go ahead and glue these front tires on. They don't fit real tight, and later on I'll just be cursing at them because they repeatedly fall off. They made the spindles too small, or the holes too large. May have something to do with the wheel backs not being on there. That's a possibility. Alright, let those set for a little bit. I'm wondering if the backs are going to be the back tires are going to be the same way. We'll get to that step here in a minute. No point in rushing. Put another coat of this on. That doesn't look too bad. Okay, I'll be back in a minute. Let this glue set up.
15 minutes later.
Well, that glue is set up well enough that I can go ahead and get these parts put in. Let me set that aside. Now, this is going to be a kind of a multi-part dance. Okay, the shock absorber here, the fat part, goes to the frame. The skinny part goes to the cross member there. So this is where it's gonna get a little hairy, because I actually need an extra hand. Okay. I'm doing this kind of in reverse mode of the direction sheet, and that's fine. You know, I don't really care. Butterfingers. Now this one here, I'm guessing that it goes either somewhere in here it's showing it going somewhere like here, but the fuel tank's in the way. So I'm gonna guess and say just forward of the fuel tank. It's not very clear in the directions where it goes, so just gonna stick it down wherever. Hopefully it's in the right spot. Sometimes you just have to guess. Come on, glue. There we go. Sometimes it refuses to come out of the tube, and other times it comes out when you don't want it to. Typical. Okay. I hope that's the right spot, because, well, it's where it looks like it goes on the direction sheet. So, last but not least, oh my gosh. I'm not sure if that glue is set yet. It's not. I might wait for that engine. Well, no. Let me roll that over. Put the weight of the frame on it. There we go. Let's scrape on the paint here. Okay, the engine's mounted, and there we go. That was 6 minutes of pain. Alright, I'm going to let that glue set up for a little bit, and I'll see you on the next step. Alright, fellas. Quick update. On that last step, I had to glue in this cross member, but upon test fitting the rear axle, and don't you just love that drive shaft? It's kind of got a curve to it. In order to get the drive shaft into the transmission, I had to take this cross member out. I'll put it back in a minute. But when I detached this part here, which is your rear shock absorbers, it had a real, well, I kind of hacked it up, but it had a real wide connecting part to the sprue. Went from here to here. And in my attempt to get that off of one piece, I broke this piece right in half. So I glued it back together. It's not quite as straight as it used to be, but that's fine. That goes in first, then the rear axle. I just wanted to test fit this in here and see what all was involved in getting it in place. I ended up having to glue one of the rear tires. The other one spins freely. Oh well. 1 out of 4. Ain't too bad, I guess. So let's go ahead and get the rest of this rear suspension taken care of. Okay, I got the rear suspension all set. We'll set that aside and let that glue dry. It looks like I'm going to have to do a little touch-up painting on that body, and then we're on to the next couple of steps. So I'm going to take a little bit of a break here and let that set up. See you in a little bit.
Many unbearable hours later.
Welcome back to the final on the Monogram Chevy LUV Street Pickup. One day a few weeks ago, I was looking at Amazon and I found this kit listed there, so I went ahead and ordered it, thinking it was going to be a pretty cool addition to my collection. To be honest, it is a pretty cool truck, especially with the small block V8 under the hood. Could you imagine driving that truck with a V8 under the hood? Could be a lot of fun, could be quite scary. But this build reminds me of what I did with that Ram D50 pickup a few months ago or a few weeks ago, where I put the 446 pack, I think it was a 446, yeah, 446 pack under the hood. Well, this kit actually came with the V8, so this is the only option you have. You don't have the option for the 4-cylinder. It only has the V8 engine option. With this kit, fit and finish was okay, but there were some issues. For instance, all of the wheels ended up having to be glued in place because they wouldn't lock onto the spindles. They initially locked on, but while I was putting the body on there, they just started falling off, so I ended up having to glue all of the wheels in place. The frame, I didn't notice it initially, but when I was doing the final body assembly, the frame has just a little bit of warp in it, and I tried everything I could to get that warp back out of it. I did get a little bit, but you can see there on the driver's side that it still has a little bit of the warp. The body lines don't quite line up the way they should. Now, I was a little hesitant to put that huge silly looking bumper on the back of it, but honestly it kind of goes with the truck, sort of. I would have preferred maybe a stock bumper or maybe just a roll pan. You could theoretically just trim off those the frame extensions where that bumper attaches, and just go with, you know, no bumper at all, that would be totally fine too. But everything else just popped right into place. The body just popped right on there. The cab just popped right on. The bed just popped right on. I did have to kind of take my number 10 blade and kind of stretch the body a little bit to get the bed on it. But other than that, it just popped right on. And I didn't have to like overly stretch it. I just kind of had to shoehorn it a little bit. Now, as far as the decals go, I didn't want to go with those big body stripes like what's on the box art. And to put the stripes down the side, I was kind of torn on that. Did I want to do that or did I not? And I decided not to because of the mismatched body panels. That would have just accentuated the fact that they're not lined up. If you don't look real close, you don't really notice it. But if I would have had those white stripes on there, that would have been, you know, putting a spotlight in its place. So I opted to not go with that. I did go with the ones on the topper and the tailgate. There were some for the fender insignias there on the front end. I looked at those and they were kind of a dark, kind of silvery gray looking thing. And I think that if I would have put those over this blue paint, they would have essentially just went black on me. So I decided to go with a little bit of bare metal foil on there and then just very carefully trim around the, I guess you call that a nameplate. So, you know, speaking of bare metal foil, I went a little crazy with this. Now, of course, the drip rail here on the cab, that's chrome. The door handles are chrome. But where I messed up, and I didn't realize it until after I did it, is there isn't chrome around this windshield frame on the 1-to-1 truck. That instead is a black rubber seal. So, oh well, I guess I have the only Chevy LUV pickup truck with chrome trim around the windshield. I don't know. That's the beauty of the hobby. You can just do it any way you want. It was kind of a oops on my part, but it actually doesn't look bad. It looks pretty good. Now, for the glass on the roof of the topper and around the rear window on the topper, I just used a black Sharpie and went around it with a black Sharpie. Same with this. I think it kind of gives it a little accent, but you know, it wasn't real hard to do. It wasn't real time consuming. It just looks good that way. Now the rear glass, you kind of had to do something because it would have looked a little plain if it didn't have the black trim on it. Also, on the tail lights, now I put a little bit of bare metal foil in the housings before, you know, I put the rear taillight lenses in. Of course, you have to paint those. Those come in clear. So I used a little bit of the X27 Tamiya clear red and the X26 clear orange as the paints to mark the taillights. I also did the same thing with the side marker lights, but I added bare metal foil to those before I put the red paint on there, and the orange paint. Well, there's another build for the collection, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this build video. If you did, go ahead and give it thumbs up. You know, it does help the YouTube algorithm to show my video to more people, and it also helps my channel grow. And I've been made aware that some of the folks that have previously subscribed to my channel have been unsubscribed, and that is a Facebook problem, and it's been ongoing. A lot of other content creators have been commenting about the fact that they've had their subscribers come back and say, hey, I was subscribed and I'm not subscribed anymore. If you find yourself in that situation, just go ahead and hit the subscribe button again. It doesn't cost you anything. It's not going to do anything other than subscribe you to my channel. And while you're doing that, might as well hit that bell icon to make sure that you're notified when I release a new video. So like I said, this isn't just my channel, it's kind of YouTube wide, and it's out of my control. The only thing you can do is just hit the subscribe button and make sure that you're still subscribed. So if you have any questions or comments, please write those in the comments section below, and I'll be happy to respond as soon as possible. Be sure to follow me on Facebook, or you can drop me a line at scaleautoguy@gmail.com. Thanks for watching Scale Auto Guy's Workbench, and I'll see you on the next build.